Hi, everyone. You don't want to miss this episode. We're digging into Nelson Nash's book, Part 8, page 66 and 67, The Retirement Trap. We're going to talk about retirement, the way most people do it, and maybe a more effective strategy. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Control and Compound. I'm Darren Mitchell, and joining me as always, Christina Wyatt. Christina, how you doing today?
Hi, Darren. I am doing awesome. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Excited to talk about the retirement trap.
Yeah, this one's a good one. But before we jump in, I just want to remind everybody, if you're listening on your favorite podcast platform, please subscribe and leave that 5-star review. And if you're listening or watching on YouTube, please like, subscribe, and hit that bell button so you always know when new content is coming out. And don't forget to follow us on social media at Control and Compound on Instagram and TikTok.
All right. Okay, Christina, I actually really like this part of the Nelson Nash book. Part of a lot of groups and associations you and I travel around going to, and this retirement thing comes up a lot. Strategic coach, we talk about it a lot too. You know, what is the new definition of retirement? So let's dig into it.
Yeah, I thought this was a great, and it's only a couple pages, 2 pages in the book, page 66 to 67 that we're talking about here. But those 2 pages contain a lot of very, very good information. So the retirement trap. Nelson's got a couple quotes during or recorded on these couple pages in regards to retirement and how people perceive retirement and what people think they need to be investing in retirement. And he starts off with a couple really good quotes that I want to share to kind of get us going in our discussions. And the first one I think you're going to like, Darren. So the most dangerous thing you can do with money is put it into government-sponsored schemes. Avoid all such programs like the plague. You will be glad you did it. So he brings, yeah, that one was a good one. And then the second, he also says that when the government creates a problem, excessive taxation, which we've seen recently, and then offers an exception, be very suspicious. So now in the book, he's talking more about the government plans in the US, but we know that we also have these here, right? We've got the same types of programs.
401k or Social Security there, and we're going to kind of talk about pension plans and RRSPs. But I told the story before of that wealthy business owner I met years ago, and I was trying to sell him back in my traditional financial planning days at Group RRSP, and he's like, "You want me to put my money in a government-sponsored plan?" And I was like, "Well, yeah." And he was like, "You're crazy, kid. Get out of here." But yeah, I mean, if you think of retirement as an example, we'll use RRSPs. So, you know, you have $10,000, you put $10,000 in your RRSP. People think they have $10,000 in their RRSP, but they don't. The truth is you have a business partner in that that's going to share in that $10,000. And let's think of that business partner. You know, the business partner comes in and says, "Hey, I got a business idea. You put up all the money, you take all the risk, you pay all the fees, you have no control. And let's leave the ownership vague until about, 20, 30, 40 years, depending upon your age. Then we'll figure out how much is yours and how much is ours." So that's exactly what an RRSP is. Your business partners with the government. You're going to split your pension or your RRSP with the government when you take it out. And if you die, they're going to take more than half of it. So they can increase that percentage anytime. We saw a couple times now in the last 6-7 years, our taxes just go up. What that is the government deciding they want a bigger piece of this business you have together called our RRSPs. And we keep going back to those RRSPs, tax deferral versus tax deduction. People think an RRSP is a tax deduction. It is not a tax deduction. You have to pay the tax. You're just deferring that tax till later. And, you're basically saying, even with inflation, even with all this, even with the increasing taxes, you're somehow going to be in a lower tax bracket in retirement or poorer in retirement, really, in order to make an RRSP make sense. Now, is that really the best plan, to be poorer in retirement and to be partners with the government?
Well, yeah, you're taking the control out of your hands and kind of putting it into the government to decide what you're going to have once you reach that retirement age. And if we look at how the government handles their finances, and where we are right now with their finances, the debt has doubled in the last 8 years. It's not great. The interest payment, we've talked about this, the interest payment on debt is more than federal health transfers at this point. So, and those transfers are not getting smaller, like it is just getting bigger. Deficit is now 40 billion. So think about that. That's 40 billion more than income that's coming in at this point in time. So again, you ask the question, do you think that taxes are going to go up, or do you think that taxes are going to go down? If they need these funds, like this is where they have access to funds. They have access to these funds because you have gone into business with them to a degree. And when they decide that they need the cash for these deficits and they need the cash to be able to help Canadians and help the regular Canadians, they're not going to go, they're going to go to the wealthy, right? They're going to go to those accounts and they're going to request the portion that they said that they were going to take down the road. It was a deferral. And it's going to be, that's going to be your retirement plan to a degree. So Canada has about 1.4 trillion in pension plans and RRSPs. And all of that money is going to be taxed at some point. Like it has to happen. At 71, they're going to make you start taking that income. You have no choice. You are going to pay tax on that. And they're going to decide what that tax is going to be on the day that you take it out. So it's definitely giving up a piece of control of your retirement planning when you go into these types of programs, because it's not your decision on how much you're going to get down the road.
Yeah, and I think when you talk about taxes, especially taxes in retirement or later life, like the government's going to determine what the taxes are, not you. So we saw a 4% increase in the top marginal tax bracket 5 or 6 years ago. We saw these. They basically look at income to consider if you're rich. So income is the income tested stuff. So in other words, as your income goes up, you pay more tax. But it also, they can just change a plan like the old age security. They can just say, you know what? If you make over X, we don't think you should deserve the OAS. So we're going to take that OAS back in the form of an OAS clawback. Then you've got all kinds of these government income tested benefits, depending what province you're in, whether it be healthcare or whether it be long-term care. Like some provinces, you could have $10 million in the bank or $10 million in a cash value life insurance policy or under your mattress. But if you don't show a large income, then the government is going to pay for your nursing home. But if you have income, which is going to come from pensions, RRSPs, we already have OAS and CPP. We know that's going to be taxable income. If your income is higher, that's how the government says, okay, you're rich, let's tax that. And that $1.4 trillion, someone in the government saying, if we increase taxes just a little bit, how much money we could earn from that 1.4. And you think taxes are bad now? Well, with these deficits and debt, there's no way, unless there's drastic changes in the next 10 years, there's no way taxes can't go up. There's only one place the government has to access money, and that's from taxpayers. There is no government money.
Yeah, and something to note on like that OAS clawback is it wasn't always around either, right? Like that just pops up out of nowhere, an unexpected twist and turn in your retirement savings or your retirement planning, where you might have said you were going, you're doing your planning, you were going to get that. All of a sudden, your income, because you have a pension, you have your CPP, is over that threshold. Done. That has now been eliminated from your retirement planning. And that happened in a year, right? Like it was just a budget decision and everything changes, much like what we've seen in the recent budget decisions of changing those capital gains. One small change can really put a wrench in how you've been saving for retirement, which brings me to my next point, saving versus investing for retirement, which I think is important when we're talking about planning. Because, retirement's everybody. Like when you talk to anybody about a financial plan, retirement is a goal, right? Like saving for retirement is a goal. But how many people are actually saving versus investing? When you're putting your money in these RRSPs, when you're putting your money in tax-free savings accounts in the stock market, those types of things, you're not saving for retirement, you're investing for retirement, which I think there's a very big difference to those two things, right? If we look at the definition, the definitions of it, well, an investment involves putting capital to use today in order to increase its value over time. So in hopes for a greater payoff. So it doesn't absolutely mean that you're going to have that greater payoff down the road, which we see in volatility in the markets all the time. If you're in a down year, when you go to retire, you might not have that growth that you were expecting to have. When we look at savings, that's to put aside as a store or reserve to accumulate savings. So saving money for emergencies or opportunities, we like to talk about as well. So saving. So saving for retirement versus investing for retirement are two very big, very different things, which I think is part of that retirement trap, like that retirement thought process that investing equals savings, because they're not the same.
Yeah, I think people, do investing, but without saving, then they miss all the opportunities that come along. So it's like a mindset shift to say, well, no, if I there's a better way to save, where I'm going to save maybe in a tax-free environment, but I'm going to save so when an opportunity comes along, I can take advantage of it. And you take advantage of 1, 2, 3, 4, 10 opportunities in your working life. Well, retirement just got a whole lot better because the increased wealth you're going to have versus we've been trained by the government and financial institutions to give up all control of our money. So we can't take advantage of those opportunities. Stick with the government program, roll the dice, cross your fingers, and hope it all works out.
Well, yeah, and don't get me wrong, I like both, saving and investing. I do both. But the problem is people are missing the savings component. They're just doing the investing component, right? Which is, I think, part of that retirement trap.
Cool. All right. So let's get into the next section. Talk about retirement, what Nelson calls the retirement trap. So the goals for retirement and savings. What's the definition of retirement? Well, it's to take out of service. Like, do you want to be taken out of service? Or I got a quote here from Duke Ellington, the jazz musician. People don't retire. They are retired by others. So you want to be retired by others, Christina?
No.
No. And I'm not saying you can't, retire and change things and do that. But I mean, the whole definition of retirement is to take out of service. Well, I want to be of service. Now, maybe it's not doing, the exact job you're doing now. Maybe it's something totally different. Maybe it's volunteer. Maybe it's something. But to be of service is the whole idea. Like retirement didn't really come around until like the 1890s, and Germany was the first place. And it was sort of a scarcity mindset where they said, all right, well, there's only so many jobs, so we got to get the old people to retire to get the young people jobs. And that was kind of the thought process in Germany back in the 1890s, and it spread. But the idea of scrimping and saving and not living a wonderful life now, so hopefully if you live and you're healthy and you're able to do it, retire on a beach someday, I would much rather, like with infinite banking, take control of my money now, allow me to save for retirement, but also use that money in the short term to take advantage of opportunities. And I keep going back to that because that's the mindset shift of, no, I'm not going to rely on the government. I'm going to rely on me, and I'm going to take advantage of these opportunities. To take advantage of these opportunities, I'm going to need to be in control of my money in my working years, not giving up control to financial institutions or the government.
Yeah, and I like that you brought up that scarcity mindset versus I like, they say an abundance mindset. So for those, when they're looking at retirement from a view of abundance, an abundance mindset, they're looking at it like there's a lot of resources out there. I'm able to grow my wealth. I'm able to do more opportunities. I can collaborate. I can, I've got a willingness to share knowledge. I look at, setbacks as temporary. I can get through this. I'm not scrimping and saving in that scarcity mindset. I'm scrimping, I'm saving. There's never going to be enough. I'm never going to make it to retirement. I'll be working forever in a job I hate, like just a terrible mindset to be in. And we've talked about it before, if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life anyways, right? So work on those things instead in retirement. Like retirement is, I don't like it. I don't like the fact that you say that you're retired and you're being replaced by somebody else. I definitely want to get to a place in my life that that you can will create the passive income, right? Instead, you can create that passive income, you can build it for yourself, and then you don't have to worry about making that, making that ends meet, but you can focus on the things that you love and you enjoy. You don't actually retire and you stop. You just to get to a place where your income's been replaced and you know that you don't have to worry about it. And that's the way that I look at retirement, is being able to build out, passive income, replace my income, and be able to focus on the things that I enjoy, but never actually stop doing, right? There's always something out there that we can do more.
Yeah, and I mean, again, it doesn't have to be your current job. We're saying you can do in retirement. Like, one of the things I've talked about for years now is, I would love at some point to go back to the schools and teach young people about money. To teach all those things about money. Like, how come we didn't know about this when we were young? How come we didn't know about real estate when we were young? How come we didn't know about infinite banking? How come we didn't know about being in control of your money? Well, I'd love to do that. Maybe in the next chapter down the road, maybe do that in retirement. Maybe it's 1 or 2 days a week. Maybe it's, you're a teacher, you're going to substitute 1 or 2 days a week or 1 day a week, and then take a month off or take 2 months off and go away. But to have something that still fulfills you and you provide service, I think is a much better approach to, you're going to retire. You think you're going to sit in the beach all day and drink Mai Tais, but that's pretty cool for the first week. And then you find yourself in January and February just binging Netflix and not really, providing value or being fulfilled. So I think it's just a different mindset. And then, speaking of like working or retirement, but even working later in life, Nelson talks about a couple people. He mentioned John Templeton, who started the Templeton Fund. He died at age 85 in his sleep, and he was set to present the next day at the semi-annual Templeton meeting. Like, he's not working 80 hours a week at that point, but he was still actively involved in the business. And Nelson, of course, was actively involved in our think tanks right up till his passing. Like, sure, he wasn't there full time every day at the end, but he was showing up for conferences. He was still speaking. He was still doing podcasts. He was still sharing his wisdom and his knowledge, and he enjoyed that in life. Like, why would he want to give that up? Or why, if you can add value, why would you want to give that up? Can you do things differently? Sure, but working later in life, if you enjoy it and you find something you're passionate about, it can be incredibly fulfilling.
Yeah, and a lot of people, they do a lot of big things later on in life. That's when you have a lot of wisdom to be able to put that into action too, and do the things that you love and enjoy. I see those those little things pop up on Instagram where it's like this person. So you look at Stan Lee. He created his first comic at 39, and he worked until he was 95. And then you've got Sam Walton at age 45, who started Walmart. And, Colonel Sanders, who started KFC at 62, finally got that magic recipe, right? And then you've got Ray Kroc, 52 years old, starting McDonald's. So, you can't, and when you see these pop up, you're like, you're not too old. It's not too late. You know what I mean? And one of them is Gary Vee. He's always like cursing at people when they say, I'm 45 and I haven't done what I did yet. And he's like, are you kidding me right now? Like, look at these other individuals and what they created. There's lots of time left for you to be able to do those things, but you want to do something that you enjoy doing, right? Obviously, you don't want to work a job that you don't like for the rest of your life, but you can certainly, like, that idea of stopping altogether is almost absurd when you think of it. Like, I know my dad, he retired for all of 2 weeks before he went back. Like, he didn't take long. And now he technically retired, I don't know, I think it was like 7 years ago. And now he's headed out to Vancouver to take on another consulting job across the country because he wants to stay in the warmer weather and have spring earlier. And he enjoys it and he loves it that he's doing that, but he's doing it at his own pace. And he's doing something that he still enjoys. I think he'd go crazy if he wasn't. I literally think it was 2 weeks that he retired and kept going. So, I don't think that there's a certain age as well that you have to retire. You decide what's best for you.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to spend some time with Dan Sullivan last month, strategic coach. And Dan, I think at 75 or 77, he's just about 80 now, he decided he's going to write 100 books in the next 100 quarters. So every 3 months, he has a new book coming out. Now, is he doing nothing but nonstop working on that book? No, he has a whole team that helps him with that, because that's how his business has evolved through the years. So, he said he spends about 30 hours to write a book now. But then he has a team that does all the stuff, other than him talking about the ideas and stuff. And they're like, there's a man 80 doing 4 books a year, like incredible books too. And he's having so much fun. Dan plans to work another, I think, 30 or 40 years. Like he's got longevity plans. But when you have that mindset of, this is what I'm going to do for the next 10, 20, 30 years in retirement, well, those are the people that have something to look forward to. My experience is, that live the longest. It's the people that retire, do nothing, and die a couple of years later, are the people that don't have something to get up for every day and to look forward to. So if we wrap this up, like, what I really took from the retirement trap is, you should look for something that we can enjoy and have fun with in the older ages. Great. If we make money at it, even better. But for me, it all comes back to the most important word in the English language, which again, I think is control. Do you want government-controlled programs, scrimping and saving, putting it in RRSP, hoping someday you'll have enough to retire comfortably, and just give up control and not be able to take advantage of opportunity and hope it all works out? I would rather take control of my money today, okay? Take control of my money, use it in the short term, infinite banking loans or policy loans, but also save for retirement, but then have the ability to take advantage of these opportunities to grow my passive income, so you can have an incredible journey. You're not scrimping and saving and not living life for 40 years until you retire like some people. You're living life while you're working, while in your working years, and then when you approach normal retirement age, well, maybe there's still something you can contribute to, and make some money and have fun and be of service. I think those people that find something in retirement that they can still get up every morning and maybe not every morning work at their job, but get up and provide service and perhaps make some money, those are the people that are fulfilled in retirement, in my experience.
Yeah, and I like that you talk about you save for now and you save for retirement. And I think for the younger generation and people, they say life's too short. Travel, get out there, do it, enjoy your life, which I 100% agree with as well. But you don't want to leave yourself, your future self, in a predicament where you don't have those savings as well, that passive income built, so that you're able to pick and choose the things that you want to do. And one thing I really love about infinite banking, and for younger people especially, is that you can have the best of both worlds, right? You can live life, you can do those opportunities, you can, travel, enjoy, but make sure that in the background, you always have that retirement component, or, that passive income component that's building, so that you have the possibilities, you have the freedom on both sides, not just one. You don't have to pick one or the other. You can have both. Oh,
I love that, Christina. A great way to sum up. Don't pick living life now or living life into retirement. Pick both.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what we think the infinite banking concept allows us to do, and many of our clients. So great. That's the retirement trap. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Have a great day.
Thanks for watching this episode of Control and Compound. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell button so you never miss a new episode.